The attention heist. Right now, as you're watching this, something in your brain is already pulling away. A little voice is checking for your phone, a tiny itch is asking for another tab, another scroll, another quick hit of something new. And if that sounds familiar, good, because that feeling is the entire story. This video is not really about laziness, it's not about weak people or broken people. It's about what happens when a world gets very good at stealing attention 1 second at a time. So today we're answering three questions. Is this problem actually real? What is doing the damage? And can you get your focus back? The answer to that last one is yes, but first you have to understand what you're up against. For years, people repeated that humans now have the attention span of a goldfish. It made a great headline, it was funny, it felt true. But the real story is more interesting and more disturbing. The issue is not that humans suddenly became unable to think. The issue is that our attention became fragmented. We jump, we skim, we switch, we check, we come back just long enough to leave again. And every time that happens, we pay a price. A tiny interruption is never just tiny, it breaks the thread, it knocks you out of the groove. And getting back into deep focus can take far longer than the interruption itself. That is why people can sit down to work and still feel like they got nothing done. They were busy, they were active, they were technically doing things, but they were never fully in one place long enough to become one thought. To understand why that happens, you have to understand attention itself. Imagine your mind as a dark room with one spotlight. Whatever the light lands on is your reality for that moment. That means attention is not just a feature of life, it is life filtered down into a single beam. But here's the catch, you do not fully control that beam. There are two systems fighting over it. The first is the deliberate part of you, the part that says, I'm going to focus now. That is voluntary attention, it's effortful, it gets tired, it is slow, but it is yours. The second system is much older and much stronger. It reacts before you even think, a buzz, a flash, a motion, a sudden change. Your brain snaps there instantly. That reflex used to help humans survive. If something moved in the bushes, the people who ignored it did not get very far. We are descendants of the easily startled. That is not a flaw, that is survival. The problem is that modern technology learned how to trigger that ancient reflex on purpose. That is where your phone comes in. That is where notifications come in. That is where the endless feed comes in. Each little ping, buzz, badge, and refresh is a tap on the oldest part of your brain. Not because the app hates you, because your attention is valuable, and attention is where the money is. That's the part most people don't fully say out loud. You are not the customer, you are the product. If a platform is free, the money has to come from somewhere. And most of the time, it comes from advertisers buying access to your attention, your time, your eyes, your reactions, your minutes. That means the real job of the app is not to help you feel centered, it is to keep you looking. That is why engagement is the word they use. It sounds friendly, but what it really means is how successfully did we hold your attention. Every design choice starts to make sense after that. Infinite scroll, autoplay, red badges, pull to refresh, notifications, short form video. They are not random features, they are attention hooks, and the psychology behind them is brutally simple. Dopamine is not really the pleasure chemical, it is the anticipation chemical, it is the feeling of maybe this time, maybe this one will be good, maybe the next swipe will pay off. That matters because unpredictable rewards are powerful. B. F. Skinner showed that when rewards come on a variable schedule, behavior becomes harder to stop. The brain keeps reaching because it does not know when the next reward will come. That is why slot machines work, and that is why feeds work. Pull to refresh, swipe again, check again, maybe now. It is the same loop in a different outfit. And once you see that, the short video economy makes even more sense because now the reward is not just unpredictable, it is fast. 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, setup, payoff, reset, setup, payoff, reset. That trains the brain to expect stimulation almost constantly. It teaches your mind that if something does not pay off immediately, you can just leave. Then you try to read a book, or sit through a long movie, or listen to a slow conversation, or work on something difficult, and suddenly your brain gets restless. It starts asking for a swipe. It starts asking for a hit. It starts asking to escape boredom before boredom has even had a chance to do its job. And boredom does have a job. We were taught to treat boredom like a problem, something to fix instantly, something to eliminate. But boredom is not the enemy. Boredom is where thinking begins. When the mind is not being fed every second, it starts to wander, and wandering is where ideas connect, where reflection happens, where your own thoughts finally get a chance to speak. A lot of creativity comes from that empty space, not from constant stimulation, not from endless novelty, from stillness, from silence, from a brain that has room to breathe. We have filled every gap now: waiting room, elevator, commute, lunch, bedtime. Every empty second gets patched with a screen. And then we wonder why our minds feel noisy. The good news is that this was learned. which means it can be unlearned. The brain is plastic, it changes based on repetition. Whatever you practice gets stronger, whatever you stop using gets weaker. If you practice jumping between tabs all day, your brain gets very good at jumping. If you practice staying with one thing, your brain gets better at staying. That means focus can come back, but not through willpower alone. Willpower is usually the wrong fight. You have to change the environment, put the phone in another room when you need to focus, not on the desk, not in your pocket, somewhere else. Turn off the notifications that do not matter. Most of them are not urgent, they are little interruptions dressed up as information. Practice being bored on purpose. Walk without audio, wait without opening anything. Sit with your own thoughts for a few minutes and let your brain fidget. It will feel uncomfortable at first. Good. That means the muscle is waking up and do long things badly. Before you do them, well, read a real book, watch a full movie without splitting your attention. Sit with one hard task long enough for the first wave of discomfort to pass. That is how depth comes back. Not all at once, but it comes back. And here's the hopeful part. If you're still here, still listening, still following this all the way through, then you've already proven something important. The machine did not erase your ability to focus, it only weakened it. That means the spotlight is still yours. Maybe it wobbles, maybe it drifts, maybe it has been trained to jump at every shiny thing in sight, but it is still there. And every time you choose one real thing over 10 fake ones, every time you stay instead of swipe, every time you let boredom do its quiet work, you take back a little more of yourself. So the question is not whether your attention got damaged. It did. The real question is whether you're ready to defend it now that you know how the game works, because everything has a why. Even the itch right now to look away, and now you know it's why. Before you go, one quick thing. If this video helped you understand what's been happening to your mind, then the work behind it did its job. That kind of work takes digging, real research, real thinking, real time. And this channel exists to turn that digging into something useful. So if you made it to the end, that already says something. Your attention is still stronger than the machine would like it to be. And I want the next why from you. Why do people procrastinate even when they care? Why does your brain fight sleep? Why do some habits feel impossible to break? Drop the next question below because everything has a why, and I'll see you in the next one.
Now tell me, which why should we pull apart next? Drop your question in the comments. And if you like finding the hidden reason behind everyday things, subscribe to the Why Factor.